Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, the middleweight division in the last year or so is starting to crack. There's a lot of talent. You got champions and just some good fights that can be made if you do a Super Six of sorts, a round robin. Now, there's some news about Jermall Charlo, who is currently the #1 contender for Gennady Golovkin's WBC belt. And Mauricio Sulaiman did an interview with ESPN Deportes, and this is what he said. He said the WBC ordered an interim title precisely so that there's no impediments for Canelo versus Triple G2, and that fight can be given without any problem of affecting the rights of some other boxers, Jamaal Charlo. Charlo accepted. He understands the magnitude, and everything is ready for them to negotiate and make the tiebreaker of this fight. He says it will be Hugo Centeno Jr., the next one who was available to play the interim title, and it was all ready for January, right? So that's from the WBC. So basically, it sounds like they're doing an interim WBC middleweight fight, and just like with Sean Porter and Granados, Sean Porter and Berto, and that's supposed to be for the right to face Keith Thurman in that division. This is supposed to be for the #1 mandatory shot. Now, I'm gonna be very transparent here. I don't understand and know how they come up and tabulate and calculate all the rankings and who gets placed and what victories put you higher, and you know what I mean, with none of the sanctioning bodies. I don't really know how they consider that, because you look at, like, let's say the IBF at welterweight, they don't even have Sean Porter in the top 20, but you have Konstantin Ponomarev, who clearly avoiding Errol Spence Jr., and he's ranked #1 or something, or 2. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how this stuff goes. I'm just reporting to you guys the facts and giving some of my opinions. So, again, Jermall Charlo, you should see it on the screen, is rated #1. What Sulaiman is saying is even though Charlo is supposed to get a shot at Golovkin, everybody knows Canelo versus Triple G is big business. It's a rematch that De La Hoya says must happen. People want it to happen next. They're pushing for May, hopefully. We obviously have to see what happens with Lemieux Saunders to see if that pulls Canelo in a different direction or Golovkin in a different direction. But the WBC is basically saying here that that's big business, and we're not going to stand in the way of that fight. And I don't blame him. Even though Canelo says he's not accepting the WBC belt because he has a little beef with them, I mean, what sanctioning body? That's how they get bread, sanctioning fees. You know what I mean? And Golovkin has the WBC belt. Canelo and Triple G, let's say they put it in Texas. That's a huge fight. You know what I mean? Because one, there's controversy from the first fight as to who won. Did Golovkin look his best? Did Canelo beat him even though he fatigued visibly? You know what I mean? And it resulted in a draw with the bullshit scorecard from Adelaide Bird. So realistically speaking, there's a lot of money in the rematch, just like most rematches. You look at even Mayweather-Maidana. Maidana had such a good account of himself in the first fight. The second fight did more pay-per-view numbers. It's very simple. So, I mean, I don't blame the WBC in that regard. You know what I mean? You're not going to stand in the way of a rematch the world wants to see, and one of the guys is already a champion, and there's just a lot of money in that fight. So if you look at the WBC rankings, they have Charlo rated #1, Canelo rated at #2, but most likely, well, he said he's not even fighting for the WBC belt, so either he's going to fight Golovkin, or I would say Saunders Lemieux winner. That's just my opinion. So you got to remove him. That's why he's saying the next available. Now, they do have Danny Jacobs rated ahead of Hugo Centeno Jr. I don't know exactly why Jacobs couldn't get this opportunity. The only thing I could think of is because he just fought and they're trying to make this interim fight in January. And Jacobs went to HBO. Now, I did talk to Charlo at the Wilder-Stavern 2 fight. They had a mini press conference, and he said he's down to fight all these guys. He says, you say you the best, I say I'm the best. Keep running your mouth, you know what I mean? And he's down to fight. That's what he said. He said, Canelo, Triple G, Jacobs, if you feel you the best, let's settle this. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I could think of is Jacobs on a new network. Obviously, it's going to be easier to make a fight with Hugo Centeno Jr. and Charlo and put it on Showtime in January. And I think, like I said, that's the only thing I could think of. Jacobs is just coming off of the Danny Jacobs versus Luis Cuba Arias. So would he really be available by January for a big fight like this? I don't know. And to the WBC's credit, I can't confirm or deny this. Haven't talked to Jacobs. I don't know if they've offered Jacobs anything. You know what I mean? Because you have to, people, see, this is, the boxing fans are so fickle. Boxing fans are so fickle. Oh, Charlo's fighting bums and this and that. And in the end of the day, the fans don't even really, the fans like that are radical like that, they're not even looking at the full picture. You know what I mean? The WBC might have even offered Jacobs a Charlo fight in January. And not saying Jacobs, that's my dude. Not saying he's ducking or he's scared, but he just came off a fight. He deserves to have some time with his family for the holidays and things like that. He just got out of a training camp. So, you know what I mean? He might have said, not right now. We don't know. I mean, this is obviously all speculation. So they go next in the list, you know what I mean? Which is Hugo Centeno Jr. And, you know what I mean? The fans, I already know how the fans, certain guys like Wilder, Charlo brothers, it's like no matter what they do, it's always under immense scrutiny. But if you actually know, shout out to Hugo Centeno Jr. He's my dude. He has a record of 26-1, and he's coming off of a nice little knockout against an undefeated fighter. But again, you have to know boxing to know that. Centeno Jr. just fought Emmanuel Alim, and he knocked him out brutally with the single punch in, I think it was the 3rd round, something like that. So that was a very good win against an undefeated fighter. He did lose to Suki in 2016. He got stopped in the 10th and final round. I watched Hugo Centeno Jr.'s career. He beat James De La Rosa. I think he knocked him out. And I think De La Rosa had just beat Alfredo El Perro Angulo. And who else did he fight? Hugo Centeno Jr. fought Julian J. Rock Williams. And it was like a no contest or something off of a headbutt. But I did think Hugo Centeno Jr. was losing to J. Rock. But it's a no contest the way it ended untraditionally. And that was that. But I do think he was like kind of losing in that particular fight. But it's not a bad fight. Again, if you don't follow boxing, you're not going to understand it. But Hugo Centeno Jr., he's coming off a good win. He only has 1 loss. He's not going to be as small as like Jorge Sebastian Hyland. He's like 6'1", 6'1.5". I believe he sparred with Gennady Golovkin and Canelo, things like that, from Oxnard. So it's actually a solid fight as far as just an interim fight, if you think about it. Is it Charlo versus Danny Jacobs? No, of course not. You know what I mean? In terms of the star power, and everybody wants to see fights like that. But I mean, you got to understand and be realistic with the business. Because if that's the case, Canelo's ranked higher than Danny Jacobs. Tell Canelo not to fight against Triple G for more money and then fight Charlo instead. You know what I'm saying? So you can't scrutinize one guy. Like, I mean, there's nothing you could say about Charlo. He's just following protocol. You know what I'm saying? But I already know how the boxing fans go. You probably see it in the comments. Oh, Charlo, he doesn't want to fight nobody. But whatever. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on it. Solid fight. I think they're going to put it on the Spence versus Lamont Peterson card, which is going to happen on Showtime at the Barclays Center. That's just my speculation. But if it's happening in January, I think that's a likely possibility. And Jermall Charlo, like I said, he's just handling his business. Jorge Sebastian Hyland was ranked above him. He faced him and knocked him out in the eliminator. And now he's doing the same thing. They're saying the next available guy who's still, see, and this is how I know boxing fans, new media is, I told y'all, new media is putting a beating on you dudes. I told y'all in January, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Again, I don't know how all the WBC rankings are made, but Charlo's number 1, Alvarez is number 2, Jacobs is number 3, Hugo Centeno is number 4, Matt Korobov is number 5, Luis Cuba Arias is number 6. So, like, you really mean to tell me that you would rather... They have Demetrius Andrade at number 8. I don't know why he's number 8, but maybe because of inactivity or something. I don't know. But, I mean, would it be much different if Charlo was going to fight Matt Korobov, who got stopped by Andy Lee in the fight he was winning? If he fought Luis Arias, okay, you could say Luis Arias maybe has a bigger name, but Luis Arias just lost 12 rounds out of 12 versus Daniel Jacobs. So, I mean, and like I said, Hugo Centeno Jr., he's coming off of an impressive knockout win. He sparred with some big names, things like that. So, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Charlo and Hugo Centeno Jr. should be next for an interim title. And Charlo also revealed that I think he knew that he was going to probably be in line for an interim, because he kind of alluded to that at the press conference. Let me know your thoughts. Drop in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.